guys, it's Kesara, and today I'm going to be talking about creepy fall reads. This year, I haven't been in as much of the creepy mood, but I have some recommendations for you guys of books that have worked for me really well in the past, or even a little bit this year as well. While some of these are more on like the gothic, sort of just creepy vibes and creepy atmosphere style, some of them are definitely a little bit more towards the horror end of the genre. Now, if you don't like to read horror or anything like that, this video is probably not the one for you, but I will be doing a cozy autumn reads, so definitely look out for that one in the next week or so. But we're gonna start with all of the creepier books that I like to read during the autumn season. For me in particular, I prefer books during the season that have a really good atmosphere. So that would be kind of the thing that I'm looking for the most in these books. The first one that I have to recommend you guys is an absolute classic, and that's Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. So this is definitely more on the gothic novel side, and it's a tale of romantic suspense. So it's very much full of suspense, with just a teens of romance in there. I actually think the romance is not done that well in this book, but the suspense aspect is done really, really well, and the gothic atmosphere is absolutely perfect. It's following an unnamed main character who gets married and goes back to Manderley with her new husband, but he is widowed, and the ghost of his dead wife, Rebecca, kind of haunts her in really interesting ways. Definitely has a little bit of like that psychological thriller element to it as well, and I love the plot in this one. It was one of the best atmospheric reads that I've had, especially for classic literature, and I absolutely love this book, and I need to read more of du Maurier's work. So the next book that I like to talk about is The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. Honestly, Ruth Ware is one of those authors that like every single book that I've read by her absolutely fits this category and works really well as like just creepy fall reads. But The Turn of the Key I think fits it the best. So our main character, Rowan Kane, takes a nanny job with a woman that she knew previously when she was younger to babysit these two young girls. Just the way the setting is done, the atmosphere of this book is so creepy in like the best way possible. I don't know how she makes a modern atmosphere seem so gothic, and I absolutely loved it. I loved everything about it. I will say like the twist at the end, a lot of people don't like. I personally really loved the twist at the end. I think it really worked for this story, but a lot of people don't like it, so you might not like it because of that, but I think it worked really well, and I absolutely loved this book. So the next one I'd like to talk about is You by Caroline Kepnes. So this is one of the first like almost thriller novels that I ever read. I picked this up a couple of years ago before I really got into the genre, but this is just so well done. I feel like no one really talks about it anymore, even though for a while there it was really, really popular on BookTube. This is a book that's told from the perspective of a stalker, and he's talking to the person that he's stalking in this. So it's kind of in second person, and it kind of feels like he's talking to the reader when he's thinking all of these like really creepy thoughts. So I absolutely loved it because it really got into the mind of a criminal, basically. It's done in a really interesting way, and I love the unlikable protagonist. It's one of those protagonists that like you have to hate this guy because he's just such a horrible person, but at the same time kind of understand where he's coming from because you're like completely in his mind, and it's just done so well. This is also one of those books that'll give you all the spine-tingling creepy cringiness that you could possibly want from a book like this. I thought it was fantastically done. I absolutely loved it and would highly recommend it. The next one I want to talk about is actually a recent read of mine, and this one is horror, but it's not like more the terrifying horror. It's just like good atmospheric creepy horror, and that's Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. So this is kind of following a boy named Christopher and his mom. He kind of talks to this plastic bag, except it's not a plastic bag when it's in his point of view, and there's just like some mysteries involved with this that are really interesting, and you can't stop reading as the characters try and figure out what's actually going on. It like just keeps you on the edge of your seat the entire time, but at the same time it's really slow burned and character driven in a way that really worked for me, and it has some of the best like just atmospherically creepy scenes that you kind of don't expect coming until like you're in the middle of that scene. I absolutely loved every second of this book. I loved the ending too. I feel like the ending was really, really well done, and this is definitely a book that I would recommend. This last book is probably the one that I would consider my favorite horror novel, and that's Pet Sematary by Stephen King. This book is probably one of the most predictable horror novels that you've ever read. Like, it is so obvious. If you've seen the trailer to the movie, then you know how Pet Sematary ends. But the way Stephen King gets there, man, is so well done. I don't even know how he managed to do that with this book, but it worked so well for me. It definitely explores themes of grief, and it also has a very realistic bent on like an old idea. It also has like some of the most realistic yet still horrifying scenes that they're not gruesome necessarily, but just some of the things that they imply make it seem really terrifying. I loved every second of this book. It really worked for me. When I read it for the first time last year, I thought it was good, but the more I think about this book, like it just gets better and better in my mind. And it's been a year and this book still gives me shivers when I think about it because of just how well this is written and the things that it depicts. So if you've read any of these books, let me know down in the comments because I would love to discuss with you guys. I post videos on Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so consider subscribing. And if you'd like to be notified as soon as I upload, you can click that little bell icon. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to support my channel. All social media links are in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.